Have you ever passed a stone bridge in rural France when the moon hangs low and the river runs black beneath? When the only sound should be water over rock, but instead, you hear it. Thump, thump. The sound of wet linen being beaten against stone. Rhythmic, relentless. A sound that should belong to daylight to village women gossiping by the riverbank. But here at midnight it carries a different weight. A finality. You approach the bridge, you peer over the edge. And you see them, women in simple gray dresses, kneeling on moss-slick stones with their backs to you, arms rising and falling in perfect unison. Thump, thump. They beat white cloth against the river rocks. Not with anger, but with a sorrow so deep it has become ritual. The cloth is always the same rough homespun linen, the kind used for burial shrouds. And as the water runs red-brown with river clay, you notice something else. The shrouds are already stained, not with dirt, with the faint ghostly impression of a face. A hand, the curve of a shoulder, shapes that were never cut from cloth but pressed into it by death itself. These are les Lavandières de la nuit, the night washerwomen, in the Celtic valleys of Brittany and the mist-wrapped hills of Auvergne. They have knelt at these rivers for 1,000 years. Some say they are the ghosts of women who died in childbirth, their own shrouds never washed. Others say they were washerwomen who drowned trying to save children swept away in spring floods. Still others whisper they are penitents, women who refused to wash the shroud of a dying neighbor out of spite, and were cursed to wash forever. They do not speak, they do not turn, but if you watch closely, you will see one of them pause mid-stroke. Lift a section of wet linen to the moonlight, and in that cloth, you will see your own face, pale and still, as if already wrapped for burial. The old ones say never offer to help them. Never say, let me take your place. Because if you do, one will rise without turning her head, press the wet shroud into your arms, and walk away, leaving you kneeling at the water's edge, beating cloth until your hands bleed, until your own death arrives to claim the shroud you've prepared. But here is what the village elders confess when the wine has loosened their tongues. The Lavandières do not enjoy their work. On certain nights, when the mist lies thick and no death is near, they simply sit with their hands in the cold water, staring at their own reflections. Not washing, not beating. Their shoulders slumped under the weight of a task they never chose. Their fingers pruned and raw from centuries of river cold. They are not monsters. They are mourners cursed to perform the labor of grief before grief has even arrived. And sometimes, just before dawn, a single washerwoman will fold a finished shroud with impossible tenderness, press it to her cheek as if kissing a child's forehead, and whisper a name into the cloth before laying it gently on the bank for the bereaved to find hours later. The true sorrow of les Lavandières is not that they foretell death. It is that they carry the weight of every loss before anyone else can even feel it coming. They are the first to mourn you, the first to prepare your passage, the first and only to weep for you in the dark hours, before your name is ever spoken in grief. They kneel tonight, beneath the stone bridge outside the village, their arms rising and falling thump, thump and thump, and somewhere a child sleeps peacefully, unaware that a woman with raw hands is already washing the cloth that will wrap his body 40 years from now. And if you cross a bridge at midnight and hear linen beating against stone, do not look down, some griefs must be carried alone.